Hey, what's up y'all? Welcome back to West Seattle Bowl Pro Shop. Today we're going to take a look at the new release from Radical Bowling, the Deadly Rattler. Crazy name. See how crazy the ball is? Fresh, put holes in it, and that's about it. So your guess is as good as mine. It's smooth. I think it's supposed to be smooth, and I think that was the target for Radical, to kind of take a page out of the popular and successful tour shape. And essentially what that means is the ball is trying to do a lot of its work in the middle part of the lane. Middle lane, just like that. For me, in my game, I really like the tour shape. It's not too jumpy off the spot at the back of the lane, and it doesn't read too early at the front part of the lane, or it kind of dies later. The middle of the lane, it makes it feel safe, controls the pocket. A lot of pearl balls for me have a hard time doing that. This one looks pretty great so far. Let's see what it does, a little more speed. I like it. For a guy that tends to throw a lot of Storm brand balls, I have some favorites we'll get to in a second. This one is looking similar. Not a bad thing. So this is the sequel to the Solid Rattler, which I threw at a demo some ways back with Tanner in Portland, and really liked it. It reminded me of a beefed up IQ Tour. When this one was coming out, I wondered if this one would remind me or end up rolling like a beefed up IQ Tour Pearl. Let's throw a couple more and find out. I don't know that I'm instantly reminded of the IQ Tour Pearl. It kind of does some things differently. It's a lot more archy. Same exact layout as I have on my IQ Tour Pearl. My kind of go-to layout is about a 5 1/4 by 60. For most people, that's a pin down. But for me and my PAP, that puts the pin in the middle finger. But the benefit of that is that it drills out some of the top of the weight block, kind of compresses it down into a nice, smooth, even quicker rolling ball, and minimizes and kind of controls the flare. You could probably see I eked that one outside. It's got that tour kind of shape. I don't know that any of Radical's literature talks about the tour word. From what I remember, Mo Pinnell, before he passed, didn't quite like the tour word on a bowling ball. That being said, it's smooth if you have it in the oil, and it's smooth if it pings off the spot. I could see myself using this ball quite a lot. Let's throw a couple more, then we'll start moving around the lane with it. A little in the oil there. It just kind of sits where you want it to sit, sits when you want it to sit, sits how you want it to sit. To be totally honest with you, I had no expectations for this ball. Kind of looks like a ruby with some silver pearl in it. I thought, well, that's cool because I love the ruby. No expectations, gave me a blank slate to think about. So just letting the ball be the ball and showing me so far. It's a great ball outside and inside. Okay, so first impressions, outside of the tour smooth mid-lane shape, this ball looks like it could be pretty versatile. And I think that because right before I got on the lanes, Joe was here. You might have seen the video for the new Radical hitter. Kind of broke them down a bit, at least this lane, with two balls, two solid snow tire balls. We had the Extreme Envy from Hammer, and then he showed that up against the Radical hitter, another strong, solid ball. Got the track warmed up for me, and West Seattle Bowl that could sometimes mean that the back ends start to wake up. And maybe they have, but with this Deadly Rattler, it looks still pretty smooth. It makes me really excited for a guy who has an occasional problem with controlling that back end. Let's move around the lane a little bit because I am very curious, maybe more curious than I was going into this video, about how it's gonna stack up against some other things I brought out. Kind of a little deeper inside than I would have thought I wanted to be, but I haven't seen what's outside, so let's go 4 right. It almost looks better. So amazing. I've thrown a few Radical balls in my time and have liked every single one of them. I don't know why I don't throw Radical more often, because I really like the care and attention they put into developing the weight blocks. As a pro shop operator, it's fun to mess around with how the mass gets taken out of the core and what that does to the roll. And Radical builds their cores with that in mind. Let's throw a better shot with that. And then we're gonna move weirdly even more right. Just take a look. Okay, kind of tried to flatten it out a little bit more just to kind of see. Honestly, even though I did that, I thought it was still gonna jump on me. I'm okay with that 210 split there. Not generally, but in that particular case, it means I don't have to trick it too much to lay off. It's kind of nice. So we're gonna leave that there. The Rattler has returned. Let's see how it stacks up against one of my favorite balls of all time, the IQ Tour Pearl. In this case, it's the red ruby version. Just kind of guessing without throwing it yet. I would probably start about here to see how this might go. It kind of got there in a different way. With a ball that has the word tour in it, it definitely has that mid-lane shape. But just off of that shot, the initial difference between the two balls that I see is that the Deadly Rattler is a lot more round of an arc, whereas the IQ Tour Ruby, I wouldn't say it goes long and snaps, but it definitely goes a few feet longer in the middle of the lane before it starts to make its arc. There's a little light hit on that one, so score up board right. See what this does. Okay, that's a pretty clean cover. It's always been a pretty clean cover for the IQ Tour Pearl. Got into the friction a little earlier because I moved the board right, and that's sort of the idea. When you move closer to your hand's gutter, gets the ball started up a little sooner with potential friction out there. And it did that, and it looked terrible. Even though Joe broke the lanes down just a little bit before I got out here, it's still just Joe and I, and so the IQ Tour Pearl might be a little too clean to be using right now. And again, clean means that it's not having as much reaction at the front part of the lane. That's what clean means. Weirdly, I don't hear a lot of bowlers say the opposite of that, which is a dirty ball. Let's throw one more and see how dirty we can make it. Friction earlier. 710 goes out late. It got there a little better. I moved back a board left from that last shot. To me, it looks like it's laboring. It should. I don't usually use this ball when the lanes are fresh oil like this. Let's get out of it. And a ball that I thought might be a more apropos comparison is my favorite shiny ball of the last 6 months. One that I'm a little late to in the game, Phaze 5. So I'm gonna go to where I was with the Deadly Rattler, which is about one or so more boards left of where I just threw that ruby. That was definitely a miss right, as you saw. Still got back though. The Phaze 5 is a stronger ball than the IQ Tour Ruby in both the core and the cover. The cover is polished just like the Ruby, but the additives inside are much stronger. And so it gets into a roll sooner and has a little more energy out the back. It just fits really well with me. I wish I'd been throwing this a lot earlier. Phaze 5 is amazing. Let's actually move a board left of that, even though that was a late 710 out. Get it in the friction a little earlier and just kind of see what that does. A little earlier. Kind of looked like the same shot without the 710 trying to stare back at me. Again, shiny balls maybe aren't the best option for two bowlers bowling. Phaze 5 has had some success for me though when I find myself in that situation. So I'm gonna throw one more, slow the speed down just a little bit, and then we're gonna bring the Deadly Rattler back out. That's why I like that ball so much. All right, this is a review for the Deadly Rattler though. Phaze 5 another time, because I will be bringing that out in future videos for sure. Okay, so back to the Deadly Rattler. This ball actually has numbers for the core that are similar to the IQ Tour Ruby, and yet they roll different. So to me, the difference is going to be primarily in the cover. I guess not so surprising to me. The numbers for this ball are 248 and an 035 diff. It's kind of close to the IQ Tour. I don't mind that ring 10 because it just reminded me I'm not in the Ruby anymore. I'm not in the Phaze 5 anymore. I'm in the Deadly Rattler. This is a more smooth arc. And so I'm gonna square up just a little bit. Interestingly enough, the numbers for the core of this ball are pretty comparable, if not almost identical to the IQ Tour Pearl. 248 RG, 035 diff. Numbers in a formula that a lot of ball brands have been trying to chase for a while with the success that Storm had with it. It never quite seemed to work out great. But in this last year, there's something called the HK22 base that a lot of the Brunswick family balls are made of, including this one. So is that the last ingredient for the magic recipe? Maybe. Ring 10. I moved a little left on that shot. I'm okay with it. So as someone who has more experience throwing Storm products, I don't have as much real world play with the Brunswick family covers. This HK22 base, I've heard from Joe and Tanner and a number of other people that it's fantastic. I've thrown a couple of them and liked what I saw. This one might be my favorite so far for my game. I like that one. So continuing impressions of this ball. The cover is great. Really surprised and happy about it. The core, I love that tour shape. So we got that, check. Putting my hand in the ball, I feel it's still pretty tacky. It absorbs the oil pretty quick, which is nice for a pearl ball, because for someone, again, lazy like me, who doesn't quite clean their bowling balls all the time or even wipe off their bowling ball every shot like I know that I should, it allows me some grace. So that if you miss left like that, it can still have enough energy to get through the pins. In the blackout video, I touched on how much oil sitting on the ball can affect some shiny, polished pearl balls. It's a lot to put into a sentence, but this one, it's got all the same stuff. It's shiny, it's pearl, it's polished. But even on that shot, there's no oil on this ball. That's unreal, especially early in the morning here at West Seattle Bowl. Is it that HK22 base? It might be. High 4-pin. I'm okay with that one too. So what is the big takeaway then? What's the final impression for today that is being left on me about the Deadly Rattler? Well, let's break it down to a couple smaller pieces. It looks rad. It's got nice shelf appeal. It matches the silver Vice Bio skin I have in my finger with that silver in this. I think I got 2 other minor observations as well. Outside on purpose. Just wanted to see. The other 2 minor observations that I have are that it doesn't seem like it's overlapping with other stuff that I use. It's not an IQ Tour Ruby. There might be a pearl red in it, and it might have a tour kind of shape. It is not an IQ Tour Ruby. It's also not my favorite shiny ball right now. It's not a Phaze 5. Phaze 5 is more cover. They both get into a roll earlier because, again, like a figure skater, with their arms tucked in, getting into a spin faster. These are low RG cores. The Phaze 5 also has, I think, a 248 RG. And so they're both getting into a roll early. But the big difference of these 3 balls is the cover. R2S is just a lot tamer, I think, than this. This one, if you think about it again in terms of summer tires and winter tires, this one I would say is all season. These are the discount tire all season tires here. They kind of are very versatile. They're gonna get you from point A to point B if there's a little bit of snow on the ground. They're gonna allow you to turn the corner when the asphalt heats up. Yikes. And it's gonna do that kind of stuff when you're on the fresh at 11 in the morning at West Seattle Bowl in the impending winter. So, good stuff. So that's it for the Deadly Rattler. I love this ball so far. Got men's league tonight. We're gonna bring this out, see how this does. With a lot more transition, a lot more of the lanes breaking down, a lot more of the oil being sucked into a lot of the stronger balls that the guys are throwing. We'll see just how versatile this can be. But so far, I'm really liking what I'm seeing. Really enjoyed a lot of the Radical balls that I've thrown. I haven't thrown as many as I'd have liked, but that might change soon. So far, my favorite Radical ball of the last year was the Outer Limits. Fantastic ball. Also very versatile, a lot stronger than this one, but super versatile. If you need a little more ball than what you're seeing in this today, check out the Outer Limits. I found that mine was great out of box, and then I polished it and it just looked like it was what it wanted to be. But look forward to seeing what HK22 continues to do in the future. Thanks again for watching. Like, subscribe, and we'll see you again in the next video.